the biggest week in movie news. A Disney dragon goes up in flames and a video game property is getting a board game. All of that and more today on Nerd Culture News, where I bring you facts about fiction. This past Saturday, Disney's animatronic in Disneyland for Maleficent went up in flames during its Fantasmic Celebration nighttime event. Thankfully, nobody was injured during this. Basically, what it ended up happening is during the show, Disney faces off against the dragon version of Maleficent, which is a large animatronic that normally shoots out fire, and when it went to shoot out the fire, it basically caught the entire head on fire, going down and engulfing much more of it in flames, and thankfully was able to be put out. But it is looking like that animatronic is going to be out of commission for a little while. It is one of Disney's more complicated animatronics that they use, especially one that is used for things like parades where it's not in a stationary state like many of the other types of animatronics they use at the parks. Are you a big fan of movies? Well, obviously, anybody that's watched any of this channel knows I'm a huge movie buff. It's even what I went to college for. Well, this week is one of the biggest weeks of the year when it comes to movie news. It's CinemaCon! CinemaCon is a convention that is specifically catering to theater owners. This isn't something that's just open to the general public. This is something that more like the people that own things like AMC or Cinemark or things like that go and learn from the bigger studios what's going to be coming over the next year, so that way they can better plan for events and, just generally what they can expect in the year. CinemaCon is a convention that you normally end up getting a lot of trailers and news and even early showings that happen there. Last year, Top Gun Maverick was shown a few months before the movie actually hit theaters, and it does help to give an initial audience review that's not just early showings that typically end up having a lot of fluff and lying about what the movies actually are like. And sometimes they don't show whole movies. They'll do like a 10 to 30 minutes of a movie sometimes just to give an initial feel for what to expect from that movie. But just expect huge things this week. I know that tonight we are getting Sony. Sony is the first one up to bat, and I will be making a video as soon as their presentation is done, gathering as much news as I can to make sure that you are up to date on everything happening this week at CinemaCon. And it's Anna Monday, so you know that means Mondays are for anime recommendations. And this week I have one of my favorites for you, Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga is like the Game of Thrones of anime. This anime, you can have a favorite character, they might be gone very quickly. I love this show because it is so realistic in the sense of there's no magic, there's no superpowers, just gritty fighting. Yes, it is over-the-top anime fighting, but you're not getting characters with all sorts of magic MacGuffins. This is brutal. This is like our modern day, basically, guts. This is what you want if you're wanting like more realistic storytelling. This is like the Berserk of modern times. The animation is brilliant, having some of the same people that worked on Attack on Titan, making it so crisp and so smooth with the animation, and the characters are just, they're so good. You actually get a feel for who they are instead of it just being a character that's going to pretty much stay the same throughout the entire story. These characters progress, their morals, their views on life change and progress as the show goes along, and characters that you might think are part of the main cast could be gone in the next episode. It is that level of like Game of Thrones amazingness. One of the reasons that I'm suggesting this, even knowing that it is a few years old, is because this anime is on Netflix. You can get the English dub or the sub over there if that is your preference, which is so nice because I know not everyone has a Crunchyroll. So if you are one of those people that just can't invest in another streaming service like Crunchyroll, but you do enjoy anime, I highly suggest Vinland Saga, because not only do you have the first season over there, but the second season has been coming out weekly, even though that is not currently dubbed yet. I like Vinland Saga so much that I actually got a different country's English dub sent to me just so that way I could show my sister that doesn't do subtitles before we got the official English dub here on Netflix. Even though Netflix had the rights pretty much right from the get-go to do the dub, they didn't put it out until like an a year and a half, 2 years after we got the initial release, which was mind-numbing for any of us that were huge fans trying to hype it up to our more casual viewers that won't do the subtitles. I love dubs personally, but I was not willing to wait, and I did end up actually watching it in subtitles before getting the first dub and then also getting the second dub. I have watched this in 3 different formats so far. If that tells you how amazing Vinland Saga is, get on it and watch it. You're gonna love it. And it looks like a video game franchise is gonna be getting a board game, which isn't that crazy, but it's Call of Duty. That's a little bit odd to me. I don't know if this is gonna be some type of a war strategy game. I don't know. There's very little detail. It was just announced today that we're even getting this. I'm not a Call of Duty fan. I'm actually not. I'm not a big FPS guy, but I am curious of, is this going to be just something that slapped on Call of Duty on top of it, or is it going to be some type of a board game that really does bring in the feel of what Call of Duty is to people, which I guess is just military game. We already kind of have military games, but this one has Call of Duty on the box. So I don't know if that's going to be enough to sway some of you. I know that it works for Monopoly. Monopoly goes and just slaps whatever franchise on the front of it, and it sells like crazy, even knowing a lot of people never even get those Monopolies out of the box just because it's more for collector purposes. Maybe that's what this is supposed to be. I don't know. It could be the next really big board game because I do enjoy board games, just not big on military theming. So let's see. Hopefully it'll be awesome. Maybe. I don't know. I'm very mid on this story, actually. So thank you for watching the newest episode of Nerd Culture News. If you enjoyed the video, please go and give us a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, thumbs down are fine too, because votes are votes. And if you end up wanting to talk about any of the topics, please leave us a comment. And if you're willing enough to go and leave comments, that means you should be subscribed. You want to talk to me. Let's hang out in the comments. Maybe not in person. I don't know. That seems a little bit weird. But as always, have yourself a beautiful day.